And hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Stuart Irvine and welcome to my solo review of AEW Revolutions 2022. No Josh, as you can see, all by myself. Here we back for our WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2 review that should be out, obviously it will be in a couple of weeks. That should be fun, but today it's just going to be myself talking about AEW Revolutions. It's a show that I was really looking forward to be fair. It was a show that had so much stacked of great matches that had potential to be great matches. Obviously we're talking about CM Punk versus MJF in the dog collar match was the match I was looking forward to the most. Obviously we had Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston going at it in a singles match. We had the three-way dance between for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, obviously the Young Bucks, reDRagon and the Jurassic Express. That was going to be awesome. And obviously we did have the main event that, again, had potential to be really good. And I was really looking forward to that to a sense with both the Adams going against Joe, with Adam Cole going against Adam Page for the AEW World Championship. It was I was looking forward to it, and I can't wait to really talk about it. I mean, finished watching it yesterday, and I cannot wait to talk and review each part of this show. But before we begin, if you like what you hear and listen or see, and you like our reviews, please like and subscribe. Links will be in the description below. That'd be really appreciated. Also, one last thing before I start viewing the show is I won't be talking about the buy-in because I didn't watch the buy-in, and I usually don't watch the buy-in on AEW, and I don't watch the WWE kind of kickoff show matches just because it's not really aimed at me, and again, that's a lot of that'd be 11 matches to watch, and that's a lot of wrestling to watch. So, when I get to this view, we're going to go straight in to talk about the Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston match that kicked off the show. So, hope you enjoy the view, and let's get stuck in talking about that match. So, let's get started. So we started off the show with Eddie Kingston versus Chris Jericho in to a point a kind of grudge match. Because obviously the last couple of weeks or a month or so, kind of Jericho and Eddie Kingston have been at odds kind of situation. That kind of collision has kind of put a little bit of split in the inner circle. That, to be fair, is kind of needed because they're getting to a point now where they're probably going to split up at some point. That's fair enough, but because they've done everything they can. I mean, minus obviously them winning the tag team championships with Santana Ortiz, because everyone's won something except for them. So there's a good story beat there. But I was really excited to a point to this match because obviously the story going into it as well was the idea that Eddie Kingston hasn't won the big one. He hasn't won the big match, and to be fair, he hasn't. So this is could have been his big breakout performance, and it was, in a sense, really, really cool stuff here. It had Eddie Kingston right at the gate, just really, really intense, really trying to prove, because he really hates Jericho at this point, hitting like a half suplex right at the gate, straight on Jericho's head. I mean, I hope he hasn't got a concussion, because that thing landed. A lot of them spots during this show, to be fair, a lot of them landing on the head type situations. I mean, always uncomfortable to watch. Then it just got to, as you expect, a lot of chops, a lot of, I think, Eddie Kingston at least, like Japanese style chops. I think a lot of Japanese inspired move sets in this match as well. Obviously we got a lot of biting. Never got that. Seemed to be a lot of him going to finish it as well. We obviously had Jericho hit Hurricanrana from the top. Awesome stuff. We obviously had Jericho expose the turnbuckle. Again, Jericho was basically being Jericho heel here. Made sense because everyone was rooting for Eddie Kingston, so it made sense. Obviously took the turnbuckle from the top. Obviously that will come into play at the end of the match. Obviously we got Eddie Kingston hitting his back fist on Jericho to get near full, so it looks like it's going to one of those nights. Then Jericho kept hitting German suplexes, cold breakers. We had a bit right near the end when he hit a German suplex, another German suplex, and then hit a cold breaker. Eddie Kingston was out at this point. But the kind of thing that kind of ended it, that was kind of cool with the finish, with the idea that obviously Jericho had him beat, was setting up for the Judas effect. Obviously, as we just mentioned, Eddie Kingston moved out of the way. His elbow hits the exposed turnbuckle, and then boom, Eddie Kingston hits a spinning back fist onto Jericho. But then you would think he would go for the pin, but no, I like this. I like this in a sense. He hits, I think, called it a stretcher plunge, or we don't know what it is. A lot of people didn't. I don't think a lot of people in the commentary booth knew what this move was. It's basically like he's pulling the arm back, like it's a pump or something that just keeps adding on the pressure. Obviously, and surprisingly to some people, Chris Jericho tapped, And Eddie Kingston he's finally got the big win, and that was awesome to see. And I was really happy for him, because obviously Eddie Kingston's one of these people that he's great on the mic. He's got a very good intensity in the ring that's kind of you can't help but love the guy or hate the guy when he's one of those rare breed of wrestlers where he can do both. He can be the bad guy and the good guy and still be on the top notch, and he done well here. I like the thing right at the end when he's so shocked he didn't even realise that he won, and then at the end, and then when he realised he's won, he basically was like so happy, as most people in the crowd were, to be fair. But well, obviously we got the bit right at the end with obviously they kind of set it up, and I think on the go home show with the idea that if Eddie Kingston beats Chris Jericho, he has to shake his hand. We got to that bit where Eddie Kingston put out his hand in respect, but that seems to be the second person that's done that, because CM Punk never did that to him. So a lot of people don't respect Eddie Kingston. It's really harsh, but so Chris Jericho looked and then walked away. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there, see if it turns into anything. But it probably will. It wouldn't surprise me if the Santana teams would be not happy that Jericho did that to their friend Eddie Kingston. But yeah, Eddie Kingston gets the win. Hopefully this is the start of like a good kind of story arc where it's like he's finally won the big one, and now it's going to be a situation where he keeps winning big matches that will get him either a title run or be one of the next challengers against whoever the AEW World Championship at the time. So it should be good. But I was really good opener, really got the crowd hyped, and the crowd really into this, and the right person won here. So yeah, great match. Really love it. So yeah, good stuff. Hopefully we get more of this as the show goes on. So yeah, let's go to the next match. Yeah, so next match we're going to talk about is the AEW World Tag Team Championship Triple Threat match, or the three-way dance, if you like that, match between Jurassic Express, reDRagon, and the Young Bucks. Again, I was really looking forward to this because, again, the dissension between the Young Bucks and reDRagon, obviously from them days from Ring of Honor, and that kind of stuff was really, I was intrigued to see where that would go. Obviously, we kind of have an idea where that is going to go, because obviously it's kind of the stuff that the Young Bucks really trademark for their booking, that if it goes the way that it normally does, it's going to be some really cool stuff. But yes, they had that dissension, and obviously the situation where they both had to go through Battle Royals. That they both kind of, obviously in the first one with the reDRagon kind of costing the Young Bucks the opportunity in the first one, but the Young Bucks winning on the second one. But it also shows the depth of the tag division in AEW. They've got enough tag teams to fill out 2 Battle Royals. That tells you a lot. I think that's pretty awesome, personally. But and obviously we got, and also it shows to check how good the champions are, that it takes all these tag teams are going to go through Battle Royals just to face them. So it makes everyone look good, to be fair, and I like it as a booking premise. But so obviously the start of the match was kind of them, for the moment, working together, and obviously that is bad news for Jurassic Express. Obviously for the first half of this match, it was basically both teams, starting on, was it Jungle Boy? I don't know if that's the right word, starting on him. But basically it was like, it was Jungle Boy trying to survive both of them, basically, that's a better word. Trying to survive from their onslaught. Obviously, they did have a cool bit where you thought Jungle Boy was just about to get the tag on Luchasaurus. And I think it was Bobby Fish dropped Luchasaurus, shows the smarts for tag team, always like that stuff. So we couldn't get the pin. We had, obviously after that, the question obviously was, the time of when they're going to turn on each other, and they did after a kind of altercation where I think a mixed communication led to, I think, Matt Jackson taking the roll-up pin from was it with Jungle Boy. Obviously they had a confrontation between Matt Jackson and Kyle O'Reilly, so then because of that distraction gave was it Jungle Boy the attempt to go and get Luchasaurus into the match, tag him in. Then Luchasaurus doing what he does best. He just basically wrecking everyone. We had a cool big choke slam he hit that was really awesome. And obviously we got a nice Doomsday Device double team by the Jurassic Express. That, again, I love the Doomsday Device because it's one of those moves that I just don't want to take. Up there we're taking a chop, probably by Walter. And it is Walter. Would never take it. But yes, that was awesome. Obviously we had one of the best moments in the match when you got Kyle O'Reilly hitting a guillotine lock, was it guillotine choke on Luchasaurus, kind of near the corner, and an interesting spot. I don't know if I've seen anyone do this, where normally with something as that. If you want to help your teammate, break it up, what would you do? Like a leg drop, elbow drop, something simple like that. But no, Jungle Boy wanted to do a shooting star press from the top. I mean, that was amazing. I mean, the guy's absolutely freaking crazy. But yeah, did we check him out? Probably the best move of the match. Then we just got, then we got the bit near the end. That again, this is kind of like a pet peeve of mine with the kind of hitting people with the title belts and it not winning the match. We had another one later on that I kind of wish was the finish, but I think that I like those finishes where you hit them with the belt. And that should be like, that is the finish of the match. But again, it's kind of an indie thing sometimes that like super kicks should be finishers. Things that look like finishes should finish matches. I don't mind it personally at times, but sometimes that's why I really think, maybe we should keep that in. But yeah, that was cool. Obviously, we got both teams hitting their own moves. You had, was it Young Bucks hitting the BT trigger? But thingy, was it Jungle Boy kicked out? Jungle Boy? Yeah, apparently I can't speak. Then you obviously got reDRagon hitting the high and low on Jungle Boy, but obviously they got a 2 as well. But then obviously they had, and then after that it was just basically, German suplexes. We got the Young Bucks trying to go for more bang for your buck. Didn't work. I think, now remember, Young Bucks doing, was it Jungle Boy did like a Hurricane and then a German suplex. It sounds weird, but trust me, it did happen. But but kind of the match ended with the Jurassic Express pitting there. Was it what's the move? One of their finishes. I've never actually seen them do it. But was it Faux Jurassic? Yeah, Faux Jurassic Express. That's, got to be honest, tongue-tied words there. Couldn't get that one. But hit that on Matt Jackson, got the win. So that's still your AEW World Tag Team Champions. Again, I remember through a lot of that, but there's a lot of the only problem with these matches, there's a lot of action, so I wanted to make sure I knew most of it. But yeah, I mean, again, it was what you expected from stuff with ROH, PWG kind of matches. They have those kind of spot after spot after spot. I like the story between the reDRagon and the Young Bucks. It's going to be intriguing to see where that goes. Jurassic Express got a big win, a title defense against 2 of the best teams in their division. So yeah, everyone wins here. I think it was 18 minutes. Good stuff here. I think tag team division is good. It's very thriving at the moment in AEW, and obviously now with teams like reDRagon in there, I mean, and possibility of the Hardys joining. If Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy become a tag team again and become the Hardy Boys, that's a stacked tag division. So I'm intrigued to see what they do next. Jurassic Express, I don't know what their next title defense is, because obviously I don't think the Young Bucks or the reDRagon are going to be involved in a tag division for a while. It's going to be a separate solo tag team rivalry that would be interesting. I don't know where to go, so interesting to see who their next opponents are. But yeah, good stuff here. Definitely check it out. So first 2 matches, really good. So yeah, great start to the show so far by AEW. So yeah, let's go into the next big match. So yeah, let's talk about the next big match we had. Obviously, was the kind of traditional at this point Face of the Revolution ladder match, which with the winner of that getting a future AEW TNT Championship opportunity. So obviously this year we knew who the 6 participants were. Obviously it was Wardlow, Keith Lee, Owens Cassidy, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, that again JR couldn't pronounce. I'm sure he got it wrong multiple times that no one really, or maybe I'm just being really mean. It might be, but I just noticed that from the commentary. And obviously who qualified on Rampage literally 2 days ago of that pay-per-view, Christian Cage. That makes sense. He's a master of the ladder match. It makes sense. So obviously this was an interesting one, because obviously I was a bit confused who was going to win, because obviously I've got I put Keith Lee, because obviously Keith Lee versus Sammy Guevara would be an unbelievable match. It would be so good. So, and especially with Keith Lee, but maybe it's too early for him to have like a title match yet. So it's more to get used to the kind of environment AEW. So that's why he's probably not in it. But obviously, but there was talk of Wardlow. They've really built up quite nicely with the kind of having those kind of cross matches with hitting there multiple power bombs and the whole thing with was it Sean Spears? Obviously, that interaction that was interesting. So the kind of the big 2. Obviously, we had Christian Cage. Maybe I don't think Owens Cassidy was never going to win it. Sorry, Owens Cassidy, but I like Owens Cassidy personally as a wrestler. He's great in the ring, but Yeah, I mean, he done some cool stuff in this match, though. That was really cool. But, yeah, so kind of started off with... they done this kind of thing that kept being a theme throughout the match. We had, obviously, Keith Lee, Powerhouse Hobbs and Wardlow kind of facing off. They done it a couple of times that obviously set up for a bit later on. But obviously got a situation where they're both standing there looking like they're going to face off, going to go after each other. Then you got, what was it? Orange Cassidy stands in the middle of it. That I find kind of funny because he's like, it's like you just like, you don't know where you are. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh God. It's like three guys that could probably beat the crap out of you, like surrounding you in all corners. But Orange Cassidy being Orange Cassidy was like, no, okay, I'm just going to do his lazy kicks, all that kind of stuff. Or even like Keith Lee was like, what the hell is this guy? But again, it kind of set up a really cool thing where it's like, I can't describe it properly, but basically like they try to get Orange Cassidy. He gets out of the way. I think what was it? Keith Lee was able to get both Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs in like some kind of like DDT situation. They obviously created a bridge that obviously Orange Cassidy tried to climb to try and get to the brass ring, literally the brass ring. I know, it's put on the nose. But, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting spot. I've never seen it before. It's really cool. I mean, there's another one we did earlier where I think he was trying to do the Bubba Ray Dudley kind of thing with the ladder where you put it in between and you use it as, like, spin it so you take people out. I love that spot, but eventually it's gonna bite you in the ass. But I liked the bit where it's kind of, he got caught, but I think it was Keith Lee and Powerhouse Hobbs, I think. Yeah, I think it was. So like, and he's like, oh no, his face, pure, very good, very good at acting there by Orange Cassidy. But the cool thing is, again, another cool spot. He did it. He was lifting him up, but he held onto the ladder. But the core strength by Orange Cassidy was freaking awesome. It was like he was able to lift himself up and go up and again use these guys as a bridge to try and get to the brass ring. Even touch the brass ring literally. But then obviously they spin the ladder, kind of shake that a little bit. He went down, was it in between? Obviously, that's not a nice spot you want to be in. So, yes, we had some cool stuff there. We had a nice little thing later on. We had a cool thing where Ricky Stark did a really cool spear through the ladder. Again, we all know through the ladder is bad luck, so maybe that's probably why he didn't win. But, yeah, we had some cool stuff. That was really cool. We had, what else did we have? It kind of ended it at the end. The big spot was when he kind of all to a point. I think you got Keith Lee through Orange Cassidy onto the outside, taking out people on the outside. Then they kind of fighting on the stage. We had it where I think they're both. We did get that confrontation between Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, and what was it? Keith Lee. We all had that going up stage. Obviously, Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs taking out Keith Lee. Obviously, then they both went for that ladder. Obviously, ladder at the top of the stage. But I love this spot where he pulled it apart. It just shows how strong they are. Obviously, bad move by Wardlow to turn his back on Hobbs because he attacked him with the ladder from behind. Then they started in Wardlow and Keith Lee and Hobbs started fighting. Found their way into where the commentary area is, and then it was like, "Where's Wardlow?" And then, being the smart guy, what he did is he went backstage. Went to the back and then pushed both Keith Lee and Powerhouse Hobbs off the stage through a table. I always love this mysteriously table set up. I know what they do. It's obviously to put the safety of the wrestlers, but I always love that. It's like, the table, so they're out of the match. So yeah, at this point you were probably going to think Wardlow's going to win it at this point, but yeah. So we had all that kind of stuff there. We also had the bit where Ricky starts climbing up, and then we got what's his name? Oh, I can't remember his name. The one that goes. I can't remember his name. I apologise. But yeah, was it a curse? I think that's his thing. I need to look up this guy. But yeah, he did that. But the kind of match ended with there was a bit where the ladder was set up, and they had a bridge between the ropes and the ladder. We obviously had Ricky Stark climbing up slowly as you can be. Then you had Wardlow jumping up onto the bridge of the ladder. Setting up, hitting his powerbomb onto the ladder. I mean, it looked nasty because it looks like, again, another one straight on the head. I hope Ricky Stark's okay because it didn't look great. And yeah, climbed. He hit his head. Wardlow climbed to the top and grabbed the brass ring and is your winner and the face of the Revolution. And yeah, I mean, I think they built up Wardlow brilliantly in the sense that it's gone from a guy that's henchman. They've pretty much set it up ever since MGF kind of, after the John Moxley match, when it's kind of slapped him in the face and kind of said, you work for me. It's been a slow build in the sense of his character, but also really good on the last couple of weeks of the, as I said before, with the thing with the power bombs and just doing squats matches. Basic wrestling 101 here. And again, it's to the point it's working because people are really happy. I mean, him and Keith Lee were my favourites to win it, but Wardlow winning it against obviously Sammy Guevara, a big strong man, power versus speed. It's set up to be a really good match. However, obviously I think I can't remember who's he got next. Oh yeah, he's got Scorpio Sky. That obviously was top box. He's got him next on Dynamite. That should be a good match because Scorpio Sky apparently it's a title versus streak match. Should be fun. I can't wait to see that one. So yeah, I mean, yeah. It was a strange match because I don't think the crowd was much into it as much as the other two matches. I think maybe funny Burnout might have been a situation. I don't know on the first two matches, but yeah, I mean, I think it's better than last year's one. That one's was a bit of a train wreck to a point. It wasn't great, but this one's really good. Obviously has some clear favourites. Cool moments as you expect in ladder matches. But yeah, Wardlow winning, I'm not against that. I think they're built up really well and sets up an interesting match. So yeah, obviously Keith Lee, intrigued to see what he does next. I don't think I would have personally went for him, but I don't think he's winning. He's only his third match in the company since he's joined, so I'm not exactly think it's a good idea. But yeah, good stuff here. I don't think it's the best match of the night, but the ladder match always gets a bit of fun, isn't it? 'Cause there's always big spots and craziness. So yeah, so congratulations Wardlow. I'm interested to see what he does after obviously a situation we'll talk about later. What happens, but at first I'm saying it's a good night for Wardlow. It's been a good and it started here. So yeah, interesting seeing that title match. So yeah, awesome match. So yes, let's get talking about the next match on the card. So yeah, so before we go into the next match, obviously the TBS Championship match with Jade Cargill and Ty Conte, we did have a announcement. Obviously it's Revolution, so we do get like a signing. Obviously we got Christian Cage last week. Luckily they've learnt their lesson to try not to, well, I don't think they have, try not to big up these signings because they tried it with Christian Cage that year. And we're all thinking CM Punk obviously did eventually, obviously, but we're all thinking CM Punk joined and we got Christian Cage. So we rate Christian Cage, but we were like, oh, that kind of sucks. But this time it was just, I wasn't quite sure. So obviously we got Tony Schiavone at the top with a contract. Again, if you kind of look at the contract, it's pretty obvious. I don't know if that was deliberate or just bad hiding. It said Swerve on it, so you knew it was going to be, you knew you were going to get Swerve Scott. Or obviously it's called, what was it, Swerve Strickland. Strickland, yeah. I think that's the name. I've got to get used to it again. I'm used to NXT names, so I'm going to wipe. So yes, obviously that's the big surprise. He is now all elite. Should be awesome. I cannot wait to see what they do with him. Again, he's going to be I think he's going to be in that great added addition to that AEW TNT Championship kind of division. So I got to be honest. A lot of people were saying online it's true. Really was disappointed with WWE releasing him after just calling him up on the main roster, then releasing 2/3 of his group, and then releasing him. It was a dick move. If you watch any of his matches against Andrade or that, I think, what was the other one? What was it? I think it's Kassidy or someone. Or Johnny Gargano, I think, had a match here. Johnny Gargano, I might be wrong. I'm not sure. He's very good. Very good. And especially with this pure wrestling orientated kind of world that we have in AEW. He's going to do well, I think. Just going to be interested to see if he aligns with anyone or what he does. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see. But yeah, it's a good signing for AEW, I think. Obviously, we've got the other stuff like Johnny Gargano still out there. Who else have we got? I think that's it. That I told my head. The ones I would want to see in. We've got Bray Wyatt still around. I don't think he'll turn up when he wants. I don't know if he's doing wrestling at the moment. But yeah, they're two big names. But yeah, Swerve. I'm intrigued to see what they do. But yeah, big announcement, big signing. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. But yeah, good stuff here. So yeah, so now let's go and talk about the AEW TBS Championship match between Jade Cargill and Ty Conti. So yeah, let's get on it. So yeah, obviously we were talking about the AEW TBS Championship match between Jade Cargill and Ty Conti. Yeah. interesting match in the sense that it's kind of, I don't know. It's just I don't think I had a lot of hype for it in a sense. It was a very simple setup match. Obviously, Jade Cargill needs a decent amount of opponents because I think she's 26-0. Or was that actually 28-0? So she's undefeated so far. Obviously, she won that against. She won that title match against Ruby Soho in the final of the championship tournament, and she's been pretty decent. I mean, obviously we had that match was a bit clunky, and I think she's getting better and better in every match she's in, and this is no different here. I think the sad truth about this match though is the crowd weren't really into it. I don't want to sit there and say I hate to use the word toilet break match because I think that's disrespectful, but every show needs to have a match that kind of calms the crowd down, and this match did do it, but not because I don't think it's boring. It's a very solid, good match, but when you've got high flying, crazy spot, like the first 3 matches were basically really emotionally intense. So the idea to have this match be like, okay, it's a standard wrestling match, cool, we can do that. But we had some cool entrances here. We had obviously Ty Conti coming out with the war paint, and we've got Andrade and -1. They've got the secret handshake thing that's kind of cute in a sense because it's it's just for what happens to the -1. It's good to see he's got some really awesome friends. So good for him. But yes, that's awesome. Obviously we had Jade Cargill come out with what was it? I can't remember his name, but basically the guitarist that plays her theme. Awesome stuff there. It was really cool. I love that stuff in your live performances and music because music. Being a guy that's really into music I like little details like that. I love wrestling themes, but obviously it was a kind of it was a very quick match. Things like 10 minutes, like 10, 12 minutes. Wasn't that crazy? I mean, you had that bit with what was it? We had obviously at the beginning of the match. You had Jade Cargill was on top, but then obviously on the outside. Obviously, Ty Conti was fighting, and obviously we had a nice little moonsault on the outside. But obviously, I think they didn't pick it up. But I think Jade Cargill pushed her manager, Smarts, I think his name was Mark Sterling. That's his name. Poor man. I mean, the guy's like, what's his job in it? He's the guy that takes the fall. He's the fall guy. He's a sleazy lawyer, as you said, the one that does all the stuff. No one likes a sleazy lawyer. But yeah, we got a moonsault. By Ty Conti, so he was out for most of the match. Obviously, then Jade Cargill was like, oh, okay, and then saw Andrade on the outside. And it just feels like, oh, there you are, boom, hit a pump kick, she's out. So we had some cool stuff like that. Obviously, we had one thing we need to talk about this. A lot of kissing. I think we had Jade Cargill kissing Ty Conti, and then Ty Conti kissing Jade Cargill. A lot of people were like, oh, this must be mind games, but when I was thinking about it, I think this, I think it is mind games because obviously I think Jade Cargill doing it because I think do you watch Sammy Guevara's blog? There's a segment where Ty Conti goes around saying, oh, do you want to kiss? Do you want to kiss? There's obviously like that feeling like, okay, like it's out of the blue. So maybe that's why it's, or maybe it's just because it's wanting a kiss. I don't know. It was just it's so out of the blue that so. Didn't have anything backing it up. It's like, oh, okay, fair enough. But yes, we had that kind of both playing mind games, I guess. Obviously, we had later on in the match. Obviously, Andrade got her revenge while the ref wasn't looking. Obviously, Andrade hitting Jade Cargill with the chair. Obviously, we had all kinds of. I think Ty Conti hit her finisher. I think that nice little behind the arm DDT. Didn't get the win there. She was shocked. But we did get some cool stuff with Jade Cargill did a really impressive, I've got to be honest, like really impressive frog splash from the top for a near fall. That was really awesome. But obviously the match ended with, I think Ty Conti went to the top rope, but obviously Cargill hit her with forearms onto the face. She went out, and that was a setup for the Jade Slam, obviously, and just hit it 1, 2, 3, and is still your AEW TBS champion. But yeah, I mean, again, it was I think it was a solid match. It's nothing crazy, but again, it was consistently, it was good. It's not like Jade Cargill's kind of a work in progress still. I mean, she's still champion, but I think every match she's getting better. It's one of her better matches she's been so far. So I enjoyed it in a sense. Someone pointed out quite rightly, it's like, who's going to take that title off her? Because they're building up so strong. It's going to be, and obviously when it comes to the women's division, the two big big feud. The kind of feud that's big enough, I think, is the obviously Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker is the biggest feud in the division. Let's be honest, it's the best feud they've got. But after that, I'm still a bit. Obviously, you've got what was it? You got Lita Hirsch. She's having a little heel run that could be interesting. You got Statlander. That's obviously cool. You got Ruby Soho. Maybe she might be the one to get revenge and take that out that I'm not against. Who else? Who's the one? I can't remember now. But yeah, they do have a couple of options, but it's not as clear cut. So hopefully that might be made clear in the next couple of weeks. Maybe Ty Conti is the option. I mean, it'd be interesting to see because obviously, if it's supposed to be like what they do TNT, like be that's the showcase style. You know, the workhorse style for the women's division. I'm up for that. So hopefully maybe, but yeah, I mean, Jericho, it was good. I think it's 29-0 now. Yeah, fine. I mean, I think it was kind of needed. I think it was like kind of a cool-off period in a sense, like, you know, crazy matches, and then you've got the women's match here that kind of, you know, calms it down because it's a normal wrestling match with just normal stuff instead of crazy spots and all that. I think that's what it did, and it did its job in the sense of that. But yeah, I think only 7 minutes. I think it's if they went longer, it might have suffered, but 7 minutes, good length. So yeah, Jade Cargill is still your TBS Women's Champion. So it'd be interesting to see if someone who would end that streak. It'd be interesting to see who they build up to do it. So I'm intrigued to see what happens. So yeah. So now let's talk about the match that I was looking forward to for the entire show. So that's go and talk about CM Punk versus MJF in a dog collar match. Can't wait to talk about this one. So yes, now the time has come. I can finally talk about the match that I was looking forward to the most. I'm obviously talking about CM Punk versus MJF in a dog collar match. My God, the build up to this match is absolutely brilliant. It was absolutely amazing. I mean, I love good storytelling. I know it's a thing that keep kind of there's a buzzword thrown around in these days, but it is a core element of pro wrestling. And if you get it right, you can make a match feel so good. And this match did it. In the sense of the match, but the build up, like, I mean, the whole the MJF storyline where it's like he was bullied as a kid, and that's kind of, and CM Punk was his hero, and then when he left, he felt betrayed, and that's why he acts the way he does. Gives him more layers because obviously he's not just a bad guy for the sake of, well, we need a heel. You know, it's more of a, he's not a gimmick. He's now a character. That I kind of like. A lot of people say, well, we don't need that. It's like, I do. And also it gives them an option if they turn him face that he's got his sympathy. Like this by doing it, it's opened up so many cool story opportunities. Obviously, and it puts a little bit of a milky grey area in CM Punk's return where the bad stuff he's done is coming back to bite him in the ass, basically. And yeah. So I like that kind of storyline as well. But yeah, but I can't describe enough. Go on YouTube, watch MJF's promo, and then watch the Go Home one as well. Great. Wrestling at its best, high quality stuff there. But when it comes to the match, obviously, early on we had some very mind games that I kind of liked, with the whole thing with CM Punk's music playing first, and obviously MJF music plays after. No one can get a boo, a reaction, like not CM Punk. CM Punk can't get boos. MJF can get when he plays that first note of his theme that's so generic but so perfect for his character. I love it. But so we obviously play mind games. He's done this before, but then CM Punk comes out, but he doesn't come out from cult of personality. He comes out with his old ROH theme from AFI, if I remember correctly. And yeah, probably got old school with the track, with the shorts, with the Triple X, not doing the whole it's clothering time, doing the old straight edge stuff like that. It was brilliant. But yeah, like both of them, I think MJF has unleashed the beast here, and I think he's gonna regret it. But yeah, early on it was just CM Punk, basically. Obviously it's his match, he chose it, so it's no surprise that obviously when he was involved in it, he knows how to make it work. So obviously we had a lot of it. He got revenge for the. For the choking that he did in the Go Home show. Quite early on, we had a lot of creative uses of the chain with CM Punk. Throwing on the post and using it as a, I don't know what the word is, but basically every time MJF tried to get away from the corner, he can drag him back. It looked really cool. That was really cool. We had a kind of obviously MJF after kind of doing a little bit of promo saying like telling them that you quit like I quit, like you quit me, and then CM Punk's like nah, I'm not saying that. That kind of cool stuff. And obviously a lot of creative ways using the chain. We had obviously people busted open quite early on. You kind of have to with a dog collar match because it's so barbaric and it's so brutal. You've got to put some blood in it, or it'd just be really ridiculous. I mean, put it this way: it's not the same match, but a similar concept to a point. Wouldn't that Texas Bulldog match between JBL and Eddie Guerrero have been so impactful? If I think their fingers bleeding, like if they weren't bleeding, or like pretty much any of Triple H's matches in 2000 without some sort of blood happening, makes their matches 10 times more brutal and more intense. That I really like here, and they needed it because if you're going to have this kind of intense storyline, the match has got to be equally as intense. But as you expect, of MJF using all kinds of sneaky tactics trying to win, using the chain around the neck to try to choke CM Punk out like he did in Chicago. Obviously, to a point it did work. I mean, but in this case he didn't. CM Punk just got out by using a kind of an old school kind of counter. I think it was Bret Hart used against Austin. And Roddy Piper, obviously a lot of talk of Roddy Piper during this feud. I mean, Roddy Piper is one of the best in the business on the mic and in the ring. We had a lot of back and forth submissions as well. We had MJF going for the Salt of the Earth, obviously where Punk counters into a pin attempt. CM Punk done the same with the Anaconda Vice, but MJF countered into a pin attempt. Very equal match here. But obviously we got also with the bit with CM Punk. Again, it's kind of similar to Kyle O'Reilly against Adam Cole, where using the chain around his knee to like put extra emphasis on the move. Hit a lovely, I think, shining wizard straight in the face of MJF. He bleeding. They're both bleeding. I don't think. I think CM Punk bleeding as more as MJF. I think. Don't think he. Well, obviously, if you know wrestling, they cut. Don't think it done as much as of CM Punk. Just basically is gushing. Like gushing with blood. I mean, I don't want to know how that feels, but my God, having blood on your face, it must be the most weirdest thing on the planet. We had like stuff on the apron with the kind of the tombstone spot again. A lot of these during the show. I don't know maybe it's because Undertaker's going in the Hall of Fame, so maybe it's like they're trying to put homage to him. Because I mean, with CM Punk, it makes sense because he brought it up in the build up to it about his atoning for his sins, so that makes sense. A nice little thing with MJF trying to go for it, but then CM Punk countered, hit one of his own, but that was a bad move because obviously it done his knee in. Obviously set up later before this where he was trying to go for another one of those knees with the chain, but MJF moved that away and he was still steps. So yeah, it cost him. But as most matches, as we know, I think if you watch enough matches after this, MJF was starting to get desperate. Goes under the ring, gets up a paper, gets a bag, and we all know what that means. He's going to have tax, and we all know, as Chris Jericho in his book, never ever take tax to the back or any body. They bloody hurt, and you knew where this was going. We had a lot of teasing with the idea that who's going to land on those tacks. We had a nice little tease of the Pepsi plunge, obviously CM Punk's old finisher in ROH. Obviously you could do that because obviously imagine going from the top rope plunge. Oh, that wouldn't be him well. So that you know what's going to happen, but had that kind of counter. But we did have a bit after that. Obviously MJF kind of counters and then done a suplex over onto the tacks, but it just missed it. But probably got a lot of them in the lower region, if you know what I mean. So, but the kind of match ended with pretty much similar to the match in Chicago, with the idea that obviously you got MJF calling for Wardlow to come to the ring, walking down with a shirt and jacket, obviously looking pretty happy himself after winning early in the night. So he's pretty happy with himself. Then obviously you've got MJF saying, "Give me the diamond ring," and he's looking around saying he can't find it. MJF is furious. Then he turns around. This spot is one of my favourites, where he turns around, hits a GTS, and then he hits it. And then all of a sudden he's like that, and he dazes, and he just lands on top of the tacks. My God, his face was beautiful. Just the way it worked, just choreographed beautifully. GTS teases that and then just lands on the tax. He's in pain, and then as MJF is recovering, you got the old kind of Wardlow. I think this is kind of a sign that he's fed up of MJF. So he looks and yells, "Oh!" And he finds it in his pocket, mysteriously finds the ring, puts it on the canvas, on the apron, walks away. Big pop from the crowd. I mean, he is... Again, it's a perfect example of how good they've done. The guy's over. I'm interested to see what he does with a singles run now, or what happens after this. But, yes, CM Punk grabs that ring, and then a bit of back and forth in a sense. It wasn't a quite like turn around, boom. But then, yeah, but eventually he did clock to him with the diamond ring. How many people have been clocked with that thing over the last couple of months? It's nice to see MJF finally get comeuppance on that. Punches him in the face, gets a 1, 2, 3, and CM Punk wins the dog collar match. And in a 26-minute classic, I think it's brilliant. I think it had the perfect amount of brutality that you really needed for that kind of match. And yeah, that finish, very creative. It worked perfectly. MJF sets up a few, probably Wardlow. It's probably going to be that kind of evolution feeling with Triple H and Randy Orton. Hopefully it goes a bit better than it did with that feud. Kind of. And obviously CM Punk gets his win. And obviously we did have a thing at the end of the match where he kind of gestured for the title. So maybe that's a sign that that's where CM Punk's aspirations are next after beating MJF. So at some point we're probably going to get a CM Punk versus Adam Page match that would be epic. I've got to be honest. I can't wait to see that. A lot of people gunning for that title. Very build up the main event scene. So I'm interested to see who is going to be the next challenger for that. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, I think this is the end of the feud. I think it's a feud. It's had 2 matches. It's had a good bit. I don't know where else you can go from here. They've gone as far as they could, but if it's one thing, if you go by the match here, it's made CM Punk's best stuff he's done in AEW so far. It's the best. I mean, it's hard to say where MJF's done some really good stuff, but it's really done well where MJF's character builds it up a bit more, makes it a bit more complicated and kind of interesting, that could set up interesting feuds down the line. So yeah, I mean, it's done everything you would want. Put over a new, builds up an interesting new star. CM Punk gets established as well. So yeah, so good stuff here. Could it be match of the night? I don't know. I would say yes, but we've still got some pretty epic matches to talk about. So obviously I'll decide that at the end of this review. So yeah, so CM Punk wins the dog collar match. So now let's go to obviously a lot of talk of championship aspirations. Now, next we're going to talk about the AEW Women's World Championship match between Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. So yes, as we said, we're going to talk about the AEW Women's World Championship match next, obviously between Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. Again, obviously we know how great their match was at St. Patrick's Slam, obviously last year. Brutal and amazing. Made Britt Baker, I think, from a huge star. Respect for Thunder Rosa. So I was kind of to a point excited for this match because you know you're going to get some quality wrestling here. One thing you got to point out at the start of this match is they've upgraded the AEW Women's Championship, and my God, it is better for it, because I have not been a fan of that first belt. It's just, I don't know, it just doesn't look right. It looks a bit, it just didn't, like, obviously they had the smaller version. I don't know if they were trying to go for the New Japan style, because it seems like that kind of smaller belt but bigger in reputation type situation that I get, but I don't know, I just didn't like it. And then they upgraded it with Britt Baker, made it a bit bigger so it looks a bit, but now they've upgraded this and now it looks like again, obviously taken almost from the same design from the world title. It looks great. It has some very like kind of actually kind of old wings belt, you know, from the early 90s in there. It looks like a title that you'd want to win. Not saying you can make a title look special if you have great matches, but design of titles are so important in wrestling. It's amazing. You need to have good title designs. Perfect example of one that doesn't do. Just the one that doesn't work is obviously the New Japan Pro Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship. I think that's what it is. No, the World Championship, where that design, I get what they kind of go for, but it doesn't look great. So the design kind of takes away from possibly the importance of it. But yeah, so an interesting design. I'm intrigued to see what they do with it. I mean, obviously now maybe the design might. Yeah, I just love it. It's just I do love good title designs. would one day love to own a title belt, but it's not possible at the moment. But yeah, I do love a good title design. I think AEW done a pretty good job with their title designs. Probably my favourite is probably the tag title design. I think they look amazing. Simple, but it works for me. But it looks like the old school, like Attitude Era kind of was it 98, 96 ones? Brilliant design. I love that. I love this one. So anyway, let's go into the match. Kind of as you expect in this match, you kind of go by numbers when you've got not Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker's kind of goons. I'm going to call them goons because obviously with outside the ring, you know they're going to kind of get in the way. So you had a fit early on when you got Jamie Hirsch kind of choking Rosa while the ref was distracted, and then Britt Baker was in control for the first part of the match. As you expect, she's the champ, so it makes sense. You had obviously with doing control, trying to end it early in a sense by being given the black glove to try and hit the lockjaw, but Rosa counters with a nice drop kick and an uppercut. And then Rosa's in control. She hits some suplexes. And that suplex was a standing suplex, middle rope, and then a nice net break. It was a great combination of moves. Really all stuff. You expect nothing less from an amazing athlete in Thunder Rosa. Back and forth exchanges, multiple pin attempts as you expect, kind of stuff like that. We had the best kind of high risk move of the match when you got Britt Baker doing an avalanche airway sign from the top. Always love that kind of stuff. Again, another tombstone. Again, Thunder Rosa here, tombstone. I don't know if that is similar when you hit super kicks or when they kept doing Eddie. Like I think last pay-per-view did a lot of Eddie Guerrero kind of homage. They did have a little bit. I think we had Thunder Rosa was gonna look like she was going to do the Three Amigos, Eddie Guerrero's kind of suplexes, but obviously we get a frog splash as well. So maybe it evens its way out in a sense. Obviously we've got a tombstone. But yes, we had multiple pin attempts. We had another use the belt to win false finish that again kind of still annoys me a little bit because again, as you said in the tag team match, I think that should win a match. But yeah, obviously distraction by Goons again. Then obviously drag the belt into the ring, obviously, and then hit a curve stomp onto that belt. Looks like it's going to be a 1, a 2, and then boom, she kicks out. Then obviously we got a situation where Britt Baker hit the locked in lockjaw, then Rosa countered to lock in her own lockjaw. National homage there. And obviously again it's just a lot of interference. It's kind of old school kind of wrestling interference. Obviously Britt Baker was tapping at this point of her submission move. And then obviously after that you got Rebel and I remember mine's just popped back in. Rebel was on the outside. Obviously Thunder was had enough of her. Hit a spear through the middle rope, like very Big E type thing through the middle rope. Took her out. Took out Hearst, Jamie Hager. Where have I getting from? Oh, I'm going crazy. But yeah, so basically then took out other Hater. I think that's her name. Anyway, took her out. Came back in the ring, but then boom, Britt Baker hit another curve stomp. Gets the win, 17-minute match. Exactly, again, right kind of placing with the emotionally drained after the CM Punk MJF match. Yeah, she gets the win. Kind of surprised because it obviously kind of set up for her to win Thunder Rosa here. But I'm thinking, obviously they said they've got a title match, number contender match. Can't remember who it's against, but they got that. And then the next match, whoever wins that gets the next shot at the title. I think she's going to win that. And I think she's going to... Because AEW do like that thing in poetry. It rhymes, right? So I feel like she's going to beat her at that St. Patrick's Slam. I think it's coming next month. She's going to win that title. It's going to be a big deal. So it's like full circle for a year from that win. So... yeah, I mean, I think she's going to win. I've said it for a long time. I think Thunder Rosa is going to become the new AEW World Champion. So, we'll find out. But, yeah, I mean, a good match. I think their first match was better. So, hopefully it's like if it was like a movie for a trilogy. First match was great. First film was great. Second one, okay, but not amazing. But then the third one ended on a high. So, that's the plan, hopefully. So, I'm intrigued to see what happens there. But yeah, I mean, all I'm saying, thank God they changed that title belt. It's a great design, the new one now. So yeah, awesome stuff. So now let's go into a match again. Another one that I was really looking forward to seeing where it would end up. And to be fair, I think it delivered. So let's go and talk about it. So yes, obviously the match I am talking about is obviously that match between Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson, in a match that are kind of set up because Bryan Danielson is trying to recruit kind of Jon Moxley into teaming up to become this group that helps train the next generation of wrestlers. And what I like about this is it's not another one of those, it feels like it's an offer that doesn't go really. As a wrestling fan, you go, ooh, I like that idea. I like that. That's what I feel with this match, and this offer. And to be fair, Jon Moxley didn't say no, but I do like the idea when they said, I don't team with anyone that I haven't bled with. And you're like, yeah, okay, you know where this is going. So yeah, I was hoping to team up. I mean, obviously, if anyone knows how team ups and respect goes in wrestling, it's like if they resist to team up, they have to face in battle and have to face off against each other, and then they earn their respect, then they become a team. It's been done. On the top of my head, it's not the famous one, but one on the top of my head is obviously Cesaro and Sheamus. Rivals became great tag team partners and become one of the best tag teams probably on that roster for a long time, up there with the Bar. So it does work. So I think that's what they were going for here. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to the match, it's just, as you expect it was just hard hitting, had a lot of stiff shots that I think were just made it even more cringe. Like, you know, like proper, like looks like they're actually beating the crap out of each other. You gotta love that. The selling was brilliant. A lot of chops, a lot of punches, a lot of kicks, all kinds of awesomeness. It's basically like a hard hitting match. That if you like that kind of stuff, this match definitely delivers on that part. Obviously, we've got Moxley. We had a bit where Moxley did a suicide. They both done a suicide dive on the outside, but they both counter each other. So it's like Jon Moxley tried to go for one for the middle rope, but then obviously Bryan countered it, and it was just basically a punch fest. And then they headbutted each other, and that's when Jon Moxley bled. Another person to bleed. But he did say he wants to bleed. But after that, we had obviously, as I said, stiff headshots. We had was it Bryan on the top rope and kind of on top rope, and he got Jon Moxley raking his fingernails on the back. That sounds really cringeworthy, but actually would hurt in real life. Someone scratching your back, it's horrible. Not from experience, of course, but you know. But obviously at that we got a nice suplex on the top that looked really awesome. After that, then we got a lot of a nice dragon sleeper by Bryan Danielson. Almost said Daniel Bryan. It's still in my head. Moxley got to the ropes. Then obviously we got a lot of elbow shots. We got obviously Bryan going for the label lock or the yes lock if you want to keep it on that. But obviously Moxley was able to break away from it. Then obviously we got a cool thing with like they were kind of fighting, and then they started kicking each other like back and forth, like it's like a figure four leg lock but in sitting position, and then just like kicking each other. Then we obviously got Moxley applying that choke. Was it bulldog choke that he's won many matches when he's world champion? Obviously Daniel Bryan turns it into a pinfall 2. Then Bryan hits a suplex and a kick to the ribs, and then hit the famous running knee for just a 2 count. Then yeah, I mean, to be surprising, this match kind of ended in the way it did. Obviously we got Bryan hitting kind of yeah, I mean, basically a lot of this, just the end of the match was kind of shocking. Obviously I can talk about more stuff in it, but the end of the match was kind of a situation. It was kind of they're both trying to lock in submissions type situation, or trying to go for the pin, and Moxley was just able to get enough of the pin to get the free count. It just came out of nowhere. The pin, like, oh, it's the end of the match. Oh, okay, but you could say it didn't count because obviously you could sit there and say that Mox is free to onto the ropes, type situation that was really cool. But yeah, it didn't. Basically, yeah. So basically, ended with gone for submission hold. Moxley counted. So had to get a pin. Surprised Bryan Danielson wasn't happy, and obviously after this, it was just basically like starting the ref, starting Moxley, and it was just a fight from both of them. As you expect, that it's they don't like losing, and obviously they kind of frenemies is the word I would like to use in this one. But the moment that really made it for the crowd go, oh my god, this idea has just gone from good to great, is the idea that obviously them out of nowhere, just William Regal just walks, no music, no nothing, you just turn to the camera and then boom, you see freaking William Regal walk down. You're like, oh, and the crowd, like, when he noticed, just popped, because we love William Regal. He's so underrated. And he comes to the ring, and he's basically, as obviously we know from William Regal, trained both of these men, Moni, Bryan, or Bryan Danielson. If you listen to his book when we won the world title, good read, very good read. It was him that kind of trained him in the ways that if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have the Bryan Danielson we have today, William Regal. But it's not surprising because he had inspired a lot of wrestlers in the past. But yes, obviously after this, he came trying to calm down. Obviously he slapped Moxley to try and get him to calm down. Then obviously that Bryan Danielson was like, you got, because he's like the teacher, and he turned around and slapped him in the face, and then intensely said shake hands, and surprisingly they did. So I don't know if this is official that they've aligned the joint forces with William Regal as their manager or the leader of the group, but if it is, oh yes, makes so much sense. Three of the most brutal wrestlers out there, and Danny Bryan's hard hitting, John Moxley's kind of whole thing is that, and obviously William Regal, is the master of that. I look forward to what they actually call this group, but my god, it sets up some interesting stuff. But yeah, but all I'm saying is very good match, very good match. If you like that kind of hard hitting, intense style, or kind of like brute, just two guys beating the living crap out of each other, this match has it. Good was it? Get 20 minutes, good length of time. Obviously Moxley, I kind of predicted Moxley was going to win because obviously it makes sense. But kind of everything was kind of drawn up. But the William Regal thing, left field, I didn't see that coming at all. So I think it's just more excitement at the moment. See, where's this going to go? Where's William Regal? What's he going to do? I hope they have just like an in-wing segment where he explains his action. I just want to hear William Regal in AEW and do a situation where, what is this a team? Is this like an unholy, like an alliance of some sort? Is it official? Are they actually going to do it? I hope they do, because again, it's just so good, so good. So so Moxley gets the win. Finally beats Bryan Danielson after all these years. But William Regal in All Elite Wrestling. Who would have funked it? The takeover of AEW 1.0 is officially happening. They've taken everyone that who's made that brand great is now in AEW. So, except for 1 or 2, but the main ones. So, yeah, so happy, William Regal. Can't wait to see what they do. Should be fun. So after the highs of that huge debut of William Regal, I was really excited for it, as you can probably guess from just what I said. But yes, after this, obviously, you could sit there and say this next match is another one of them call-off matches. Obviously, I'm talking about the 6-man Tornado Tag Team match with Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Sting teaming up to go against the Hardy family office with Andrade, Matt Hardy, and Isiah Kassidy. In a match that normally, I have to admit, would be a match that goes, okay, if it was just a normal tag match, but the good thing they made it into tornado tag rules. All basically means anything goes. There's no rules other than the pinfall has to happen in the ring. So that means you can just do the old crazy spots, scuffers, crazy spots. And you did get this. You definitely did get this. It was just chaos from Bell 1, basically. A lot of basically everyone going after everyone from opposite teams. The best kind of spot early on was the idea that I feel sorry for Jose, the assistant. What was he thinking getting involved trying to attack Sting? You knew after that you're gonna get taken out. And obviously it ended with a cool thing where Sting was beating him up and then put him set him up on the chair. Set him up on the chair, put the trash can over his head, and then you got Darby Allin jumping through the middle rope, as always, intensely as he always does. Hits him, so he's out of the match. So can happen, I guess, for him should it be getting involved in a match, or are you going to get attacked? We had obviously awesome stuff for Sammy Guevara being the energetic, awesome guy that he is. Obviously hitting like a nice little, jump rope kind of cutter from the middle rope on Kassidy. It looked great. Then we got a situation with Then we got, what do we get? We got a double stomp by Andrade on Darby Allin. I've never got that one where it's like you're on the top rope and you like hold yourself in place. It's a bit more staged than I like. I don't think it's a good move, but yes, Andrade's famous for that, so he hit that on Darby Allin. Then after that, as you expect, it just piled into the crowd. We had a situation where it just fight. I think we had was it Sammy Guevara and the obviously what was it? God, Private Party doing the silly string thing where it's like they go each other back and then hit on Sammy Guevara. Explained it terribly, but it's just what it is. I mean, it's just we had some cool spots. You had a table spot, but basically the big stuff of the match basically happens with 2 table spots basically. So you got the first one that was on top of the ramp. You got obviously Private Party trying to hit Sammy Guevara through the table, but with Sammy Guevara, basically I think Kassidy's up on the top. So he's probably going to hit like a spin or a splash or something. And obviously Sammy Guevara stopped him, went to top, and then hit on that kind of the rate or it's kind of stage. Hit a kind of 2 tables there. Hit a was it Spanish Fly? You know, the Spanish Fly's top. Well, makes sense. Spanish Fly from the Spanish God makes total sense. Hit from the top, looked nasty. But then the more surprising spot was the one with was it like the old Dudleys versus Hardys match where Royal Rumble 2000 spot where you got tables on tables, set it up by the Butcher and the Blade that got involved. You expect nothing less when there's no disqualifications in the match. Then it obviously got fighting. I think you got Darby fighting against I think Matt Hardy, or I think at the top, and then you got Andrade. I think Sting and Matt Hardy. Then you got Andrade and Darby Allin. Kind of, it's on the balcony and type thing. I can't describe it properly, but yeah, it looked really awesome. Basically, then Sting, in the corner of his eye, sees Andrade lying on the table. Surprisingly, he should have known that if you were lying on a table and there's something there, someone's going to do it. And then this is the kind of spot you expect from Darby Allin, but then, guys, 60 odd now? Sting, and he saw him and he just done a splash and went through both sets of tables. I mean, Sting, calm down, stop it. It's mental. And then it was just amazing. That I loved it. I also loved the idea that basically I think they brought up in commentary that was really cool. Is that Sting and Darby Allin? We always used to think that Sting's rubbing off on Darby Allin. That we do have that spot later on that he done. I think Scorpion Death Drop on Matt Hardy on the set up chair, but maybe it's the other way around. Maybe Darby Allin's rubbing off on Sting. Trying the crazy spots. Because him doing that is like mental. But yeah, except for that, we'll see the end. Last 2 in the ring were Matt Hardy and Darby Allin. Obviously, it ended with Darby Allin, as I said, hitting a kind of Scorpion Death Drop on the chair set up in the middle ring, and then goes to the top and hits his he kind of missed him because I think Matt Hardy was kind of not really on where he is a little bit, but like he kind of missed him, but they kind of bigged it up. They just about got it. Hit the coffin drop from the top to get the win, and get the win for his team. And again, a match that you would expect to be, if it was a normal tag match, probably would be like okay, but with this match, Tornado tag rules, best decision they made, awesome stuff here, and I'm intrigued to see where it goes because obviously I haven't seen that match between Guevara, Andrade and Darby Allin, that triple threat for the TNT Championship that sounded and looked amazing. They expect nothing less from these 3 great competitors, really. But I'm assuming this feud will continue. I just like the idea of the was it Sting and Darby Allin's got a more complicated relationship than just mentor and mentee. It works both ways, and I like that. Maybe that's a thing they can maybe bring up in the future. I hope so. With the Matt Hardy stuff, I don't know. I think it's just another the family office stuff is just more of a group you can beat. And that's fine. You got to have those in wrestling. You can't always be putting everyone over. But yeah, I like this feud between Gargano in AEW, in Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara, because it feels like an old school feud. 2 high flying kind of young, talented people that's kind of will probably be the future of the company facing off for that championship. Feels very like old school Intercontinental title feuds in the past, WWF and all that, where it's like that's the workhorse style. And now you've got two of the best workhorses in the company fighting out. It's just, I don't think that's never had that. I've never felt like it had that. And if they do it, if they book it like that, then I think TNT Championship could be huge. So I mean, more bigger than it is. So I'm hoping that's what they do. So yeah, great win for Guevara, Darby Allin, and Sting. So yeah, I'm hoping Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara continue that feud, because I think that's got potential to be a really great feud going into the summer. So fingers crossed. And yeah, well, just done fingers crossed and then done the thumbs up. Okay, I must be crazy. So yeah, good win there. So yeah, so now we're finally there. Now let's go and talk about the main event of the evening. So yeah, we're here. We finally got to the final match of the show. Obviously, we're talking about the AEW World Championship match. Adam versus Adam. Who's the better Adam? Obviously, Adam Page versus Adam Cole. In a match that, yeah, I mean, I was kind of looking forward to it. The bill was quite standard in a sense with this match. I think it was more a situation of, obviously it ties very well with the whole Young Bucks and reDRagon, kind of, it meshes quite well. But yeah, I mean, weird dynamic here where basically I think Cole was very over. I can't remember where the show was where the show was, but he was very over. But like Page, yeah, got a couple of boos. Don't think that's a signal of his reign, because I still think he's had a pretty decent reign so far. And the question here with this match, is this another great match to his already great repertoire of great matches he's had as world champion? I would say yes. I think it's his third best match. I think just behind the two matches against Bryan Danielson. But yeah, I mean, cool stuff here. I mean, you expect nothing less. Again, it still had the kind of PWG kind of NXT of old kind of style with a lot of that kind of move after move. But yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, the match kind of started off on the outside, and then fighting as you expect. Quite hate each other at this point. We obviously had a bit of Page tried to hit the clothesline. Obviously trying to get a lariat. Obviously, Adam Cole got out of the way. Obviously, and Page hit the post. So that's the thing that he did work on. Started control. Adam Cole started trying to match. Started working on the arm. Makes sense. Can't hit that move, and it did play to a point to the finish. We had a nice little Page hitting a 4-way slam and a springboard lariat on Cole on the apron. Looked amazing. Then we got that kind of a KO kind of move when it kind of situation hitting a powerbomb on the apron on the back, and then obviously hit an impressive moonsault by Page. He does one of the best moonsaults in the business. I'm just saying, I think he does. That powerbomb onto the apron looked like it hurt. Then we got a lot of clotheslines taken by Page, but obviously Cole was there to take him down. We had like a nice crossface finisher. We had like obviously Page going for the rope break, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know really want to explain it really. This is just a really, really, really good match. Obviously we had another tombstone attempt. I think we had Cole hitting a tombstone again. A lot of these tombstones, I keep saying it, that kind of stuff. Then after this, obviously they pretty much threw everything at each other. So at this point, we were just going, okay, when is it going to be into his buddies come down and try and help? And obviously they did. Obviously Carl, not the Young Bucks. Again, if you watch Being the Elite this week, I literally watched it today. Kind of sets up that kind of tension between the Young Bucks and Adam Cole. But yeah, obviously Kyle O'Reilly and both his come to the ring, kind of distracts Page on the outside, obviously, and then turns around and gets a super kick by Adam Cole, and then hits the Panama Sunrise off the apron onto the floor. Amazing. And then gets back in the ring and just gets a two. Then kind of you've got Cole hitting a Panama Sunrise, another one in the ring, and then the boom kick, or kind of that, knee to the back of the neck. But obviously he didn't put his knee pads down, so that's why they kind of explain why he kicked out of it, because he didn't go full. It was kind of the impact was lessened because of that. Then we obviously got Cole avoid a buckshot lariat attempt, and then more super kicks. Then obviously the reDRagon were like, okay, we need to finish this, so they get the ring announce table, put it on the side of the ring. Obviously, I think Adam Cole was going to hit a powerbomb, and then you've got Adam Page kind of countering and hitting a Deadeye through the table. Awesome spot there. You got to love that. And then after this, obviously Dark Order came out to help their friend, even up the numbers, a little bit of altercation there. Then they obviously went back ring, and then it was just a final 2-on. A 2-on-2 and a 1-on-1 match, normal match. And then after this, obviously we had near the end, we had Paige. Obviously we've got to say, obviously on the go home show, we had obviously the bit where he duct tape on. Was it Adam Page to kind of hit super kicks and kind of on the rope, so he kind of escapes so they can hit super kicks. But was it Page he used his belt and tied Coles to the top rope to get a bit of revenge. But yeah, people hit multiple super kicks, but the crowd were booing. So I don't think they were happy. I mean, I guess it shows a bit of grey area of Adam Page. He's not just a cookie cutter kind of face. I think it's a complicated character. Again, another one that's really cool. That's why I think I really rate Adam Page. A lot of people don't like his title reign. I think it's really good. I think, maybe he should be more high-profile storylines, but good God, the match quality is amazing. So that's what you want your world champion to be fair. But yeah, and after obviously this, then Page exposes the knee. After this, obviously he gets out the belt and then obviously hits his own boom knee to the back of the head. Then goes to the top. Then goes to the outside. Hits the buckshot lariat for the win. 24-minute match, and it's still your AEW World Champion. A lot of people sitting there saying that Adam Cole should have maybe won this. There was, when he hit that boom knee to the back, it looked like it was set up as that. But obviously, I think Adam Page is having that title for a long time. I don't know who's taking that. It could be Punk. It could be Omega might come back and win it. It could be Cole eventually. You don't know. There's just a lot of interesting people that could, would take that title for him. But yeah, good stuff here. A good finish to the show and a good finish to the match. Really. I think it's I think it's obviously you expected Adam Page to win there. It's that when they're both called Adams, it confuses the hell out of me. It's like AEW trying to confuse me here. But I think it's a good finish to the match. I think no one's surprised that he won there. And it was probably going to continue. Would there either be a rematch or some sort of? It is kind of teasing it. There's going to be a situation where the Young Bucks and reDRagon are going to come to blows. Adam Cole's got to choose what side he's on. And there's probably a good chance he's going to choose his own blinded by his Undisputed Era. And then they need a partner, and it's probably going to be either Hangman Adam Page or Kenny Omega whenever he decides to turn from his long-term injury. But that's the way it sounds like it's going. But I think this should keep the show going because again, it's just this is the kind of interesting storyline that I think Adam Page has been missing. I mean, again, he's had the good matches. Again, it's similar to CM Punk the way they booked him in a sense, where he had some good matches, is building him up, and then they gave him the meaty storyline. With Adam Page, it's kind of similar because Danny Bryan was a kind of interesting story, but that was more about the in-ring match than anything else. I mean, now I think we've kind of proved that Adam Page is freaking amazing in the ring. That's put a bit more interesting storyline, making a bit more focus of the whole show. He does feel up behind. I can see why people say it's been lackluster. It hasn't yet. I just don't think it's hit its full potential yet. But if we're going to get we've got the great matches, now we need the good storylines again. The storyline that made us fall in love with the guy in the first place. So I'm intrigued to see if they do that. So I've got to be honest, in the show sets up a very interesting Dynamite that, again, what pay-per-view should do, makes you want to watch their show next week. And that's what I'm going to do on Wednesday. I'm going to be watching that. So, so Adam Page, still your AEW World Champion. So yes, that's my review of AEW's Revolution 2022. In a show that I think is very solid. I think very good. I think it was paced very well. It went quite quick for I think 5 hours if you count the buy-in matches. But yeah, good stuff. I still think CM Punk versus MJF is probably the best match. Dogcon match is best match of the night. I think the main event was pretty good. The opener was great. The ladder match was very good. I think the tag team match was also up to standards that I love. I think the Jade Cargill match was not the greatest, but it was short enough so it didn't any harm. And obviously, I think the women's world title match could have been better. But again, I've got a feeling they're setting it up for a bigger and better match at that St. Patrick's Slam. And obviously, that 6-man tornado tag was a whole lot of fun to watch. So I think it had a lot of stuff going for you. When it comes to no surprises as much about getting William Regal debuting, But that's more I'm more excited about that than probably some other people, obviously, because being a Brit, as you can hear on my accent. So I'm intrigued to see where that goes. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a situation with AEW. It's like, yeah, probably like All Out and kind of Full Gear is probably like the high standards of like there. But I think this show is kind of like, it maybe just be a one or two notches below those two shows, but it's still high quality, top notch there. I mean, it sets up for Double or Nothing in a couple of months. But yeah, if I honestly think that AEW is going to be one of those like 4 shows where it's just, they're just like takeover quality, NXT takeover stuff. Where it's just all, you're always going to get a great show, and it's guaranteed. And AEW is that show. So yeah, so that's the end of my review. I'll probably, if I've got to grade this, I'll probably give it a B plus. I think I'll give it an A plus, but I think there was a little bit of problems with it to a point of some of the matches, but I think B plus is a good score. So a very, very good show. Definitely suggest you check out this show and probably check out AEW in general. Really good stuff here. So yeah, so hope you enjoyed my solo review. Obviously you get to see my face this time instead of hearing my voice. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments if you enjoy these kind of video kind of reviews, because I want to try out, see if it works. If you do, let me know. If you don't, I'll go back to just doing audio and you can see my voice still in my face. But yeah, if you want to check out more stuff from our podcast, you can go on Josh Stu Pod on our Twitter. Obviously Josh will be back for our WrestleMania review. I think there's another show coming up before then. I don't know. I'll look it up. Check on Twitter. Obviously check on our Instagram, Josh Stu Wrestling Podcast. I post a lot of cool stuff on there as well. And yeah, and also if you're watching, check out our YouTube channel as well. On a good note, was it 91 now followers? Hopefully we can get that to 100 quite soon. Get it up. Trying to really build this channel very slowly, but trying. But yeah, hope you enjoy this review. And yeah, I'll be back. Obviously, I will be back for WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2. But until then, have an awesome day, and see you guys soon. So, bye everyone. Bye.